This camera is gonna look awfully familiar to a lot of you. aosu just released their brand new T2 Pro. It has dual 3K cameras and can cover up to 270 degrees of a field of view. Some of you might remember I recently reviewed Eufy's S4 Max, a very similar build with dual cameras and a lot of the same functions. So today, not only will we be breaking down all the features and specs of the T2 Pro, but we'll also be doing an in-depth comparison of this and Eufy's model to find out which one really brings you better value. Welcome to Bad Tech, where I try to help you pick through the bloated tech market and find products that really work. Subscribe. In terms of design, this is a dual 3K camera with, of course, a top fixed lens and this bottom 360-degree tracking camera. Now, the great part about aosu's camera design here is they actually have this elongated base here, which allows you to put it on a corner, just like this one on my house right here, and actually adjust the top fixable lens to cover a full different angle than the bottom tracking lens, which then can be customly set at any position to cover the other half. And this is how you achieve that full 270-degree field of view. For what's an area that you would typically need 2 tracking cameras on, you're able to accomplish that with 1. The bottom tracking camera, which they call the focus camera, can cover up to 100 degrees, where that top fixed lens gets you around 170. That's how you get that combination. Now, these are both 3K Ultra HD, so you're not losing quality when you switch from the top to that bottom lens. Of course, it's never going to look quite as clear as 4K, but I think these videos say enough. It's very clear, very bright, and very easy to read things like license plates or detailed features in faces or animals that are coming on your property. They also have something called AISP, which is basically AI image enhancement, giving you a better dynamic range and color. These cameras essentially work in tandem. You can have it set 2 different ways. The first one being, if anybody walks into the range of your fixed lens, well, that's going to automatically trigger that bottom camera to then follow that person around the whole time. That works the other way as well. If they get into range of that focus camera, it's still going to track them. Now, this can be changed through settings where you can have them work entirely independently, making it so that focus lens doesn't track you when you get in vision of that fixed lens. Let's talk install and setup, because the first thing you have to decide is where you want to place this camera. It really does work best if you use it at like a 90-degree angle on your house, where you can have it set to cover the maximum area possible. But if you just prefer to have it in the front of your house or on the side, it doesn't really matter. There just has to be a little bit more thought that goes into where you're going to place it. One thing you do have to consider is your house's siding. So you're going to see I decided to have my solar panel directly on my camera. Now that means my top house covering actually blocks out some of the sunlight that I get throughout the day, limiting the amount of charging. Now this has a 9200 mAh battery and only requires 90 minutes of direct sunlight a day to power itself. Even with low light, it'll still trickle charge, meaning that it's not going to go completely to zero ideally. It is also IP65, which means it's water and dust proof. If you don't feel like it's getting enough sunlight with the solar panel mounted on top, they also give you this really long USB-C cord and separate mount where you can then run your solar panel up on your roof or somewhere where it's going to get a lot more visibility. In an ideal world, you should never have to take this out. I live in Canada where it gets down to minus 40 Celsius, and I can tell you in the 2 weeks I've been testing it with the cold and the warm weather we have not had to touch it. Now, once you've selected where you're going to place it, you have to go through the install process. This really doesn't take you any more than 10 minutes. The bracket only has 3 screws you have to put on. It has this simple slide design. And the great part is you can pop it off at any time just pressing the tab. Of course, this gives a tiny bit of a security concern. Well, somebody could walk by and slide it off, but I've never had any problems. If you're super worried, just put it a little bit higher. If you've used an aosu camera before, you can just go ahead through the app setup, which takes around 5 minutes. Otherwise, you're going to have to create an account for your first use. The great part about this model is it works independently. So if it's your first camera, you do not need the Homebase to use it. On the flip side, if you have one of their Homebases, of course, you're getting more features and your cameras can work in tandem. So it's a pretty big benefit to have that as well. Pros and cons to both, basically. So let's talk about some of my favorite features you can do directly through the app. Let's take a look at the app and some of the major features that you'll be using with this model. Now, because I don't have one of their Homebases connected to this camera, I'm missing out on a few things. One of the biggest features being the facial recognition. This is going to let you put names to pictures that the camera detects and then send you notifications with their name when they walk into frame. So I'm screen recording at the same time, so I'm going to put up what's on my phone right here so you guys can take a look. This is the main interface you get with the camera. It shows you both the moving bottom camera and then that top fixed lens in a wide view. You can really see the difference between the field of view with the two. Few things you can do right from your camera view is mute the volume. You can adjust from Ultra HD to SD. You can record, you can take clips, and of course you can rotate if you prefer to have this view, which from here you can then click on either camera to adjust which one you're controlling. You can also move your bottom lens just by using this little control pad. It's actually really responsive, so you can see there's no delay time whatsoever. And then there's other features which you can access, such as turning on your illumination, which we're going to take a look at shortly, putting on your alarm, adding a voice alert. So for example, if my package carrier walks up, I can just click this voice alert. It's going to send that message out, not in my voice, of course. And you can also toggle on and off tracking. So if you prefer not to have your lenses continue to track as the target's moving across your property, that can be adjusted too. Inside settings, there's a few things I want to show you, starting with AI surveillance, where you can adjust all sorts of different features. So you can turn on and off things such as person detection, vehicle detection, pet detection, parking guard, which I've tested in other videos. It basically creates a virtual boundary around your vehicle. And if somebody comes up to it at night or during a period you set, it's going to set off an alarm, basically telling them to F off. It actually worked pretty good last time I tested it. And then a few other ones they've added on recently, like intrusion prevention for yard walls, like a fence, and then lawn surveillance. You can adjust these based on your preference and how often you want to get notifications and actually have the camera activate. If you scroll down to event settings, you're going to see the default view. Now, this is where your bottom moving camera, your focus lens, is going to always go back to. It's the default position. So if it tracks someone all the way around to a different view, as soon as it stops that instance, it's always going to rotate back to this position I have it set to right now. One thing I love about the Eufy model is you can actually set multiple different positions, but there's always just one default position. What this allows you to do is quickly press those positions when you're in the live camera view and then switch to different areas. It's actually a really handy shortcut, so I wish they would have added that. Setting your battery management is a big one for this camera. Because it's being charged by solar, you have to make sure that battery lasts throughout a full day and night. Depending on how many times your camera is being triggered, that can obviously greatly affect the battery. So by adjusting it to power saver mode, it's going to cut those instances of recording down to 20 seconds, saving you like 66% battery. Two really important features I wanted to break down next is the zoom capabilities and the tracking. Starting with the zoom, which I made a small mistake earlier in the video. This actually has no optical. Instead, it relies solely on digital zoom. The big difference in this is optical zoom is not really going to break the resolution as you zoom in on a car or a face. Where with digital zoom, typically you have to pinch the screen to enlarge the subject, which then will break down the resolution and just look not as clear. In this case, as you get closer to the max capabilities of the T2 Pro, you can definitely see a break in resolution, but when you're around that 3x, it still looks pretty clear overall. I do wish they would have added a 2x or 3x symbol, so as you zoom in, you can see exactly what you're at. So that's potentially something that aosu could add to their interface later on. One other thing they left out is auto zoom capabilities. So with my Eufy S4 camera, for example, as the bottom tracking lens catches me into frame here, we can see it start to follow me. It will automatically zoom into my face, enlarging it so that I look a little bit clearer. So as it tracks me, it saves a ton of detail and you can see everything really well. Where with this one, it stays the exact same the full time it's tracking and never actually automatically zooms into the target. Now, aosu did tell me they left this feature out because they just found it's too hard to track the subject. But I think that's more of a tech issue because with my Eufy cameras, it works awesome. And also this is a feature you could turn off if somebody decided, for example, that they just don't want to use it. Let's talk about the tracking because this is a pretty important part. Now it has this top fixed lens that I explained earlier. As I get into frame of it, this bottom tracking portion is automatically going to lock on and follow me as I move around. Most of the time keeping me completely in frame. And I found this actually worked really well. So even as I'm moving down my driveway here towards the sidewalk, we can see it locked on. And even as I'm down here, it should continue to track me keeping me in frame and moving as I go. It doesn't have the best tracking capabilities I've ever seen. Some things I've noticed is it does tend to be a little slow. So if you're too close to the camera, you can pretty easily juke it out to the point where sometimes it almost just forgets that you were there and just doesn't move to continue to follow the target. But if you're at, for example, more of a medium distance, let's say 3 meters away, where the camera, let's see if I can get it to activate here, can keep you in frame the whole time easily, it's gonna track me without any major issues. So pretty responsive, keeps you in frame most of the time, but definitely slower than some of the other tracking models that I've tested in the past. I think they could definitely improve on the speed and responsiveness of it. I think it needs a little bit more calibration where it does a better job keeping people in frame the full time and also able to track people where if they're trying to sprint into your property or walk fast, it's able to catch them still. A few different features you'll probably use at night. The first one is going to be the spotlight. Now this actually has 3 different points where light comes out of. There's 2 individual spotlights at the top camera and 1 on the bottom tracking one. So to properly show this off, let's turn off this light first. And so you can see it actually does spread the incoming light out quite a bit, where you get a little bit of variable coming from each distinct point. And because it also goes on that bottom tracking camera, as it follows you around, you can see the light will also follow with it. Now there's 3 different night vision modes that we can toggle between. The first one, most of you should recognize from the majority of cameras, and that's the black and white infrared. Okay, I had to go turn that light back off so the infrared actually activates. But now you should be able to see it where it's a pretty clear black and white color, and it does give quite a bit of facial expression and detail as well. So you will actually get a pretty clear picture from this option. But if you do want full nighttime color, then we can toggle to that in the setting here. Full nighttime color for this camera involves it activating its spotlights, which will then give you a pretty detailed night vision with that bottom tracking lens following the target around. So you always get a little bit of exposure to light while using it. And you can see from the video, it's pretty detailed and is going to be more than suitable for most environments. There is one more night vision option that we can toggle between, and that's if you have overexposure to light already outside your house. So for example, if you have a floodlight that stays on the majority of the night, then you want to activate this mode. So check this out. So what this mode does is turns off the infrared completely. On nighttime full color mode, when there's no motion detected, it goes to infrared. Well, with this one, infrared never turns on because you always have some sort of light coming from your spotlight, which means even at night, we get a full color night vision without utilizing that spotlight that's built into the camera. This is another big benefit because you're not wasting the extra battery life that comes at the cost of utilizing those spotlights all night every time motion is detected. Okay, let's talk about some of the major differences between the aosu T2 Pro and the Eufy S4. Starting with the video resolution, one thing that's nice about the T2 Pro is it keeps the same resolution for both the top and the bottom lens. Where with Eufy, yes, they have an amazing 4K top lens, which makes a huge difference. But with the bottom lens, you lose a little bit of that, going all the way down to 2K. So I guess in terms of video resolution, we can call it almost an even split. In terms of night vision, they both have technology where you can get a pretty clear picture without a spotlight on. So I would say that's pretty even for the most part. The top fixed lens for aosu's model gives you a 170-degree field of view, where with Eufy, you're only getting 130 degrees. That is a pretty big difference. But with the bottom lens, we know with Eufy's model, you get that auto tracking and zoom feature. That zoom is very important. As I explained earlier, I find it actually works really well where it tracks the person's face the whole time. But for aosu, they explained to me that they didn't want track and zoom because they didn't find it followed the face well enough. I wish they would have included that and just gave an option to turn it off. aosu's solar panel takes about 90 minutes per day to charge, where with Eufy, it's only 60. They have practically the same battery size, 9200 mAh for aosu and 10,000 for Eufy. The other major differences come in terms of features. Eufy does have a ton more with their model. One of my favorite ones being they have a continuous power option where you can actually plug it into a power source and turn it into a 24/7 recording camera. You just can't do that with this model. There are other features, but I'm not going to go through everything with the S4. I just wanted to give you some of the major differences. aosu is definitely lacking on some of those that I think they could start to include, but keep in mind this could be something they update as this camera's lifespan continues on. The last major difference comes in price of $300. That is an expensive single camera, well, dual camera technically. The T2 Pro is only $200, but they have the promotional price of $159 at launch. And I will say aosu's products are usually on sale. It's a bit of a marketing tactic, but for $159, that is crazy. You can almost get two of these, which cover, I would say, most people's whole property if you strategically place them, compared to for $300, you get one S4 Max or S4. So you need to pay almost double the price in order to cover the same amount of grounds as the T2 Pro. That's where we're looking at tech for value. Is the S4 an overall better camera? Yeah, of course. It's more expensive. I think the features are better. It's a little better built in my opinion. But for most people, that would be considered a pretty expensive setup. So you go with the cheaper option that still, by the way, works great and is a super fancy, well-made camera for just a fraction of the price for $159. I know with tight budgets right now, for a lot of people, security is important, but you don't always have to break the bank. And that's why I think the T2 Pro is actually a really great option for most people. Like always, I've included any discount codes down below, as well as the link to purchase it. You can either get it off Amazon or from their website, so whatever you choose. If you do purchase through my link, I get a kickback, so I obviously appreciate that. Like always, thank you guys for watching. Make sure to subscribe to the channel. I'll see you guys in the next one.